who had 450 passing yards and 4 total TDs in the comeback, was not one of the 7 QBs who cracked the list of 15 players. Fox Sports NFL analyst and all-time great running back Eric Dickerson joining us this morning. ED, good morning. I'm going to start with you. Is Zeke more valuable than Dak?
Well, good morning. And I want to start with one thing first before I go there. Skip, you should thank me. You should thank the ambassador and the Rams for 2 things. For Greg Zuerlein, because I said to some of my friends that Greg Zuerlein is going to win the Cowboys in these 3 games this year. That's one.
Good.
And also for the best special teams coach in the National Football League, Jim Fossil. So you should be thankful for that.
And I appreciate what you did to those sorry Eagles on Sunday.
And beating the Eagles for you guys.
Yep.
So,
way to go. I owe you.
Thank you. So, and I'm gonna come back to that at the end of this broadcast, so you can make sure you pay me off. One thing is this offensive line is not the same offensive line that came to the league with Zeke and Dak. So therefore, Dak is more important. He really is, because he controls the football. When you watch the Falcons, you watch the Rams. If the Cowboys stay in that kind of hurry up offense like the Bills did in the '90s, the Rams had no answer for it. The Falcons had no answer. They could not stop it. That's at the end of the game, how they came back. They just kept that hurry-up offense. The Cowboys have what I call a triple threat. You've got Michael Gallup, you've got Amari Cooper, and you got CeeDee Lamb. And then, okay, if you want to stop those, let's go to Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, if you want to stop that, now we'll go to Dak. Not just Dak's throwing, but Dak's legs. And for Dak not being on this list, to me, he had 3 rushing touchdowns, over 400 yards passing. No quarterback in NFL history has done that. So most definitely, right now, he's the most important part of this offense, because this is not the same old Cowboys offense. They try to run it the same, but this is a different offense. This is a new day, and I hate to say that it's anyone's team, because to me, football is the ultimate team sport. But if you want to have to say whose team it is, I guess it's running around Dak Prescott for sure.
The thing that I like, Skip, what we saw in years past, when the Cowboys would fall behind, they would take Zeke out of the game themselves because they would throw. But if you look at it, the first game, 22 carries. This game, falling behind, 20-0, 29-10 at the half, Zeke still gets his 22 carries. 10 in the second half, 5 in the fourth quarter. So he's still an asset, whereas before, when they fell behind, they just took Zeke out of the game and just throw. There's still that threat of Zeke running the football, and that still puts fear into the teams that they're facing, because they just can't drop up out of there and try to get the hook and flat zones. They got to worry about the quarterback sticking the ball in Zeke's belly, pitching it or tossing it to him. So they have to hold, and that gives the receiver just a little bit more time, gives Dak a little bit more time. Plus, it keeps them from totally pinning their ears back to come and get Dak, because there's always that threat of running the football. I just think Dak is a lot better when they have the play, when the play action is very viable. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, and ED, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've always felt it was easier to come back from a big lead than hold it, because the defense gonna get soft. There's like, look, nothing cheap, nothing deep. We'll make them nickel and dime. But in the process of that, you're allowing my quarterback to get into a rhythm. You're allowing me as a receiver to get into a rhythm. And we know this, rushing the passer is a lot more tedious than pass protecting. So you're gonna slow down eventually, ED. And so I think that helped Dak a lot. Look, Dak played phenomenal. He took what they gave him. He did not try to force the football. But if you look at it, Zeke has averaged 120 yards from scrimmage in both games, 22 carries in both games, 3 catches in the first game. He got 6 in the second game, Skip. So he's still finding ways to be used, even though he's just not running the football. It's Zeke. You know it is, Skip. I know you hate it, but it's Zeke.
I don't know it. Eric Dickerson, the greatest running back I ever saw, also doesn't know it, because it's just not the truth. I give you, Zeke helps make Dak what he is. But in the end, this football team will go as far as the quarterback carries them, and that's throwing it and running it, because finally they unleashed him again in the second half. And as Eric points out, he ran for 3 scores, 3 touchdowns. And as much as I love the way Zeke is running this year, he's running with an edge, with a passion, with maybe even a fury I didn't always or often see last year. I give you that. but look at his rushing totals. So he ran for 96 at Rams. He ran for 89 the other day against Atlanta. It's not like he's running wild for Eric Dickerson versus the Cowboys in the playoffs in 1985 kind of yards. Because help me out, Mr. Dickerson. What was that total that day?
27 for 248, 2 touchdowns.
248? That was on my team. I was there. I was in the press box, and I was in awe of this guy, number 29 for the Rams. I saw him at SMU because I covered him in Dallas. But you want to talk about running wild? Well, I don't see Zeke do that.
No, he ain't got that kind of breakaway speed, Skip.
Okay, so what my quarterback did on Sunday against Atlanta in the second half, it's 312 yards without an interception. Usually it's a recipe for 3-interception disaster. You're just throwing it all over the lot, trying to make something happen that isn't there, and they pick you off 2 or 3 times, or you get sacked, fumbled. And he didn't turn it over in the second half. And I got to tell you, it was a throwing clinic of accuracy and decision-making. And Shannon, I give you, they've backed off a little bit. Maybe they're not rushing the passer quite as hard as they were because there's still some threat of Zeke. I give you that. But listen, this man, when he is right, and it's too often it's when it seems hopeless, but when he's right, he's as right as anybody. And I point out again, he led the whole league in second half passing yards a year ago. Unfortunately, some of it was too much too late, where they just couldn't get back, they couldn't get home. And Eric, my only quibble with you is, I'm sorry, I can't put my quarterback or my running back in the top 15 performers so far because they should be 0-2. They stole that game with the all-time onside kick phenomenon that I've ever seen. I don't know how they pulled it off, but it was like a trick kick. And it worked, and they stole it. And then Dak came up big, and CD came up big at the end, and that's great. And your man, Greg the Leg, saved us, and I hope he continues to save us with onside kicks and clutch field goals.
But here's the thing, though, ED. You better hope it's Zeke's team because the price keep going up. You at $40 million right now, Skip. You at $40 million a year.
I told you I'll pay him $50 million if we get to the Super Bowl. I will.
He's betting on himself, but look at it like this. You know, like I said earlier, they don't have that same line that they had when Zeke and Dak came in the league. So they can't run the football. Like, you're not going to see those big breaks or those big gaping holes like you did when Emmett played and Zeke first came in the league. This team really is you want to say it's a throwing football team. Or you're going to say it's a little bit of both, but I say it's more heavy passing the football. And they're better when they throw the foot. They're better when they get up on the ball and move very fast. I think it's a better football team when they do that. And Dak does not make a lot of mistakes. I mean, yeah, they got the onside kick. Yes, they kicked the field goal, but that's football. You know, Dak made it happen. I mean, Dak was the reason they got down there, even though he didn't get the ball back. They got the ball, and they were able to win that football game.